Hey everybody, welcome back to Friday Night Magic, playing Modern here tonight at GameSwap Mason. Brought to you by Top Deck Productions, streaming on Twitch TV. And Victor, tell us about our matchup here. What do we got going on?
So, we got the aforementioned Mardu Dragons. We were talking about this at the end of the last round. It's a spicy number. We got some dragon cost reducers, some big dragons, some burn, some discard spells.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe this deck is he's really playing Mardu Nahiri, but instead of 4 Nahiris and an Emrakul and Lingering Souls, he's got like 9 dragons.
Yeah, we got some Thunder Breaks. We got
Thunder Breaks,
Storm Breaths.
Storm Breath, Thunder Maw Hellkite maybe.
Yep. I believe at least one of those.
And I think maybe even a Kolaghan Storm's Fury, just to get
That's
there.
Spicy.
That card when you have multiple dragons in play, it procs off each dragon, and so you get this huge team sweep buff effect. There we see a promo Thunderbreak Regent in the hand. For those of you who played Dragons of Tarkir Standard, you hate that card because it was oppressive. Turn 1 Goblin Guide.
Yep, and then the deck that David is playing over here, it's a Jund Vengevine deck. It plays Hollowed One, it plays Vengevine, it plays cards like Cathartic Reunion,
Insolent Neonate to proc Street Wraith to proc the discard.
So this deck can create a pretty overwhelming board presence in the early turns of the game. You can see right now he's almost starting off like a little burn deck here.
Yeah, this is gross. Any deck that can put out 2 Goblin Guides on by turn 2 is kind of dumb.
And we see Paul here. He's sitting on a spicy number. That's
Soulfire Grandmaster.
Not even that. He's got Foul Tongue Invocation.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The 3 mana, 2 and a black. Target player sacrifices a creature. If you reveal and or control a dragon, you gain 4 life.
Yep. Paul actually has a lot of really, really good incidental life gain. So because he's playing this dragon package, he's got a lot of reach. And to further the reach of the lightning bolt, he's actually playing 4 lightning helix. So those could be good here,
especially in a Death Shadow saturated meta, which isn't necessarily the case anymore. But
yeah,
it's nice to have that as another option.
Yep.
Just go upstairs,
He's also got I don't know why he's playing him exactly, but he has Soulfire Grandmaster to give all of his burn spells.
Yeah,
lifelink.
I think that may be going a little bit deep, but
yeah, I mean
it's nice here. He's got to have an answer for it.
Yeah, do you think so? If he has burn spells in hand, I think you don't block, but otherwise, I think you have to block.
Yeah, I see a Crackling Doom in hand, which is another kind of wackadoo card.
Crackling Doom's like the reason to play Mardu in Modern. If you're not playing Crackling Doom, I don't think you should be playing Mardu. The card is really good. I think it's only fringe because Mardu is not a very good shard to play. But if you're playing it, I think Crackling Doom's a sick card.
That's an interesting opinion. We're throwing up Crackling Doom up here again for you. Standard All-Star. Basically, take away the downside of a sacrifice spell because it takes out the biggest creature, which is typically what you want your opponent to sacrifice anyway. And you get a
slap 2 damage on there, and instant speed is key.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice.
This card is good.
So we'll be interested to see what exactly Dave or David, not sure what he prefers to go by, has got planned for us. Hopefully something sweet, maybe a Cathartic Reunion perhaps. I see an Insolent Neonate in his hand as well. I'm not sure if his deck plays discard spells or not. I don't think it does, but
he had a couple, I think maybe 4 a couple weeks ago. If I were playing the deck, I think I'd play 6 or 7. Make it really like just a controlled a Mardu control mid-range deck that's got 8 or 9 dragons in it.
So we got some attacks, we got some triggers. I'm not entirely sure what that card on the top of his deck is. It's a new rare. I know that for sure.
we see the nice shiny emblem sticking out for us.
But aside that, not really too much to go off of. He did not block, so he's saying he's got some burn spells.
Oh, that's a new Fatal Push.
Promo Fatal Push, all right.
Yeah, beautiful.
Plays the Neonate, and maybe just a pass. Yep, sounds like just a pass. Not really doing many of the Vengevine type things, just kind of random red
we're
drops.
We're seeing Jund burn right here.
With a Neonate.
With a Neonate.
Just cause. He's got a
that thing's got menace. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's gonna help him push through some damage. We see in Paul's hand he's got a Thoughtseize, not looking great right now. He's got that Crackling Doom. He's got a Thundermaw Hellkite to turn on his Foul Tongue Invocation. However, Foul Tongue Invocation, I'm curious basically if Paul is going to go for the Crackling Doom here. kind of gets wrecked by a removal spell if David France is playing any of those. But I guess we'll just have to see what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, I
Cathartic
think
Reunion, pitching the Vengevine and the Teamer Battle Rage, drawing 3.
so. He might just put out a hollow one here, if he has one, because he's discarded. He's gonna discard another card.
So
try to draw.
Now the Vengevines will be free, or not the Vengevines, the hollow ones.
Yep.
Discarded 3 cards. They're all 0 mana. He should draw a card now. Yep, there we go. Don't want to miss that. That'd be a bit silly.
And that's a hollow one.
Seeing a hollow one in hand. Maybe if he had 2, that would be. Maybe.
So I think. Do you think in response to cast, if he casts the hollow one, do you think in response we Crackling Doom so we can kill one of these Goblin Guides now?
That's an interesting question. I'm not entirely sure what the answer is. I think you can safely assume, based on David France's fetching, he hasn't really been super aggressively fetch shocking. So I think if I'm Paul, I'm taking him off of possible Death Shadows.
Do we think Paul even knows that he has Death Shadow?
Well, I'm saying Paul is probably assuming he doesn't, and I think that's a correct assumption because I think David France would be much more aggressively trying to hurt himself here.
Yeah.
I mean, going for a basic mountain here, that's definitely like I'm trying to save life type thing. But Legion Loyalist.
Okay, Legion Loyalist is.
I think this is a pretty critical misstep here. If he would have cast the other hollowed one that he has in hand, we saw that he would have gotten that Vengevine in play as well. It could have been attacking with another 4/3. Right. So a little bit of missed damage here. It could end up being semi-costly, especially tapping out here, saying I've got nothing. He's going to gain some life.
So he's going to gain 2 life off of the Soulfire. From Crackling Doom dealing damage.
I'm wondering at what point in combat he did this, because if he... Ooh, and I think misses the Vengevine trigger. Are we
missing the Vengevine trigger?
Missing... That's a little...
Yeah, that's...
you hate to see it, folks.
Yeah, This is Victor's tagline, yeah. You hate to see it, folks.
He just noticed, he just pointed at it. He's punching himself a little bit here.
Now, it wouldn't have mattered that much because Crackling Doom would have taken out the Vine, but then he would have shoved through 2 more damage.
I believe last turn, Paul also had a little slight missequencing of what was going on because he Crackling Doomed inside of combat.
Which neglected him. So he neglected to gain 2 life from...
I mean, wait, hold on. If he Crackling Doom, doesn't that kill the creature with the highest power? So wouldn't that have had to get a Goblin, even if he had the option to sacrifice the 1/1 Menace guy?
Oh, did he sacrifice
I think he did.
Neonate?
I mean, I definitely saw a Crackling Doom be cast, so he should have gone down to 1
Yeah, none of the Goblin Guides left.
So maybe they just quickly went over, and he actually did get the Vengevine back, and they just didn't end up wasting the time to take it out of the graveyard, but... I'm curious.
Yeah, you're right though that a Goblin Guide would have to be dead because Crackling Doom resolved and cannot. I thought we'd put the Neonate in the graveyard because it died in combat. To the.
No, I believe that is the card he chose to sack.
When you would never make it die in combat because you would just sacrifice a discard draw instead. So. Not sure. Yeah, something definitely resolved correctly here. We got a lot of confusing things happening though, so.
But I guess David France scoops him up. He's had enough. So
yeah,
they're going over right now.
They're figuring it out right now.
Yeah.
I think David's a little new to this deck, and Paul is maybe a little bit new to playing Crackling Doom in general. So,
which I imagine many people playing Modern don't have a lot of experience against the card Crackling Doom.
I'm telling you though, I've played against it, and I've played against Mardu Nahiri in like a PPTQ. And somebody played 3 of them against me, and it wrecked my face. So.
Yeah, 3 of that card certainly seems pretty hard to overcome.
It's a good removal spell.
But yeah, as is being showcased, there's a lot of moving parts to this Jund Vengevine deck. Oh, I guess the game isn't over? Oh, okay.
Okay, well,
never mind. Sorry. Called that shot a little bit earlier.
Stick with us, folks. We promise we know what's happening. We are very astute watchers of Magic.
Okay, so life totals are being updated. Figuring out what is going on.
So they couldn't have rewound though to resolve that correctly because that would have been improper without a judge's oversight. So I think we've just decided to move on.
Yeah, so basically at the end of last combat, we had 2 Soulfire Grandmasters blocking 2
Goblin Guides.
And I believe some other removal spell. The Foul Tongue Invocation was then used to clean up that hollowed one, gained a little bit of life. I'm uncertain if these life totals are correct, but that should...
Yeah, I think Paul's maybe a little bit higher than 5 if he gained 2 life. He gained 4 life off life linking the Goblin Guides in combat. You never know, though. That could be correct.
And then here we had... I know David has a couple... What's the looting? Faithless looting? I believe he's got a faithless looting in his yard. He might have just flashed it back. But we're being told that these are the life totals that the players have, so they could potentially be incorrect. Maybe Paul missed his gain life opportunity. 'Cause he's pretty dangerously low at this point, and he's missing this 4th land drop. He's just been wanting to showcase us these dragons.
Yeah, he wants this Thunderbreak Regent to get out of the gates. Oh, another Goblin Guide.
Goblin Guide, trigger goes on the stack, eats a bolt in response.
Seems good.
But, however, Paul knows he's not drawing a land, so not really a big victory for him. I think he might even be sitting on a Painful Truce, which is just not ideal.
Brutal. Yeah, so Paul actually now has a Thunderbreak in hand, a Storm Breath, and a Thundermaw, which makes the deck seem kind of awkward and clunky here. I promise you it's not. In fact, the deck has a really smooth curve. Paul's actually playing 24 lands.
Ooh, he goes for the draw 3.
God, is he really doing that?
I could have seen a world where he just drew 2, where
man.
he converged it in a way where he only had to draw 2 cards, only losing 2 life, because now he puts himself dead to... I guess it doesn't really change that much.
Well,
I mean, all 4 Goblin Guides, I believe, are now gone.
All 4? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Drawn and played all 4. But now, he's just basically got to close the game before our boy is able to cast
do anything.
2 creatures.
And so I don't think David actually has any burn spells. I think it's almost exclusively a creature deck. I think he's playing like 32 creatures. I'm not sure he has any bolts.
I'm curious if he will end up choosing to save any creatures he draws in an attempt to draw another creature and then Vengevine him. Get that Vengevine going.
Yeah, get the 4 haste going. Yeah, that's one of the reasons that Vengevine decks are kind of tough to play and sort of wonky, is because you have to make those tough choices of holding back creatures. I played Jundvine for a while, sort of a half Jund deck, half Dredgevine-ish deck. And it was tough. Sometimes I found myself just holding back a Llanowar Mentor that I wanted to cast with the hopes of drawing another 1 or 2 drop creature.
So, cast a Thunderbreak Regent. If these life totals are correct, this is looking like... Oh, yep, and that's the game. So, able to turn that corner pretty quickly,
Jeez.
But with the game ending with Paul at 1, that missed Vengevine trigger looks like it did cost him the game.
Yep.
I'm not super surprised.
These are some painful truths with Victor Cruz.
That was a good one.
Telling the hard truth.
Yeah, you know, you don't
hate
want to miss triggers.
You hate to see it, folks.
You really hate to see it. Missing triggers is a pretty controversial move. Not something most people want to do. And I think this game kind of clearly demonstrates that.
Yeah, definitely the difficulty showcased of sort of playing a new deck. Not only is it a new deck with new cards, but I think David, I was watching him sleeve this up on Tuesday, so it can be tough to really get the hang of a deck's mechanics before you even start to grapple with its strategy.
Now,
it's always the critical first step.
Going to the sideboarding, transition a little bit here. These guys are sideboarding. I was looking through
Thank
Paul's,
you for that transition, Victor.
I was just like, shut up.
I think without that transition, we'd never have made it.
I probably not. So I saw in Paul's sideboard, he's playing white, so he has Rest in Peace, which I think is pretty reasonable.
Yep.
2 of them, I believe, which is obviously going to be very good in this matchup.
He's got Anger, which is pretty good. Anger actually kills Vengevine, which is it's got 4 power, so sometimes you forget that it has 3 toughness. But Anger exiling a Vengevine is a big deal.
Yeah, that's big.
That's actually another reason that Vengevine decks sort of fell out of favor, is because of the card Anger of Gods.
I also saw some number of Kolaghan's Command in Paul's side, which doesn't seem like it'd be all that great in this matchup until you remember Hollowed One is an artifact.
I actually had not thought of that.
Yeah,
though,
which is very, very nice.
Sure, though interestingly, if you're trying to get value out of it, like let's say on turn 3 you shock your opponent's Goblin Guide and make your opponent discard, that could go badly for I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
you
the-
could be
the
incidentally
discard-
giving your opponent a discard outlet. So Paul's got to be careful about how he uses that K command.
And then of David's side, from what I remember seeing, the only thing that really stuck out to me was he had 2 big game hunters, which I think is going to be a good way
Oh yeah,
to kind of handle those dragons.
Yeah, that's definitely good.
Aside that, there was nothing really that wowed me. Maybe we'll see something. Maybe he decides to bring something in. I'm mostly curious if Paul realizes the interaction between Colgan's command and Hot One. I think that's a pretty important thing. It's easy to overlook,
Sure.
basically, is what I'm
Sure.
referring to. And then after, if he has realized that, if he still wants to bring it in, if he decides there's cards that are bad enough to not bring in, like maybe Thoughtseize is a card, I could see him signing that out. I could see him keeping it in.
I don't think you want it here. You're against a Goblin Guide deck that also has graveyard synergies. I don't know about the Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
It's also a deck that can tend to dump its hand. So
Yeah, definitely.
I will say, I wanted to ask, what is the madness cost on big game hunters? Is it
1
3?
black.
Is it just 1 black with
1
madness?
black.
That card is freaking good.
Yeah, it's a
It's
good one.
like, oh man, that is a good card. Like if you play that off of Liliana, you know, make your opponent discard and then you discard big game and cast it for 1. So good.
Like to give a little shout out to our main man Dos Equis guy.
Dos Equis guy. I love Dos Equis.
I don't like beer. It's pretty gross. Not gonna
I
lie.
really like
Which I know with my voice, you may be a little surprised. I am in fact 21. I can legally consume
I don't
alcohol.
believe it. I don't believe it. I really like a lot of lagers, and there's a great place in Clifton. I'm supposed to be advertising GameSwap the store, but let me tell you about this restaurant in Clifton. There's this place called Habanero, and they do Taco Tuesdays where you can get $2 tacos and $2 draft Dos Equis. It's quite the deal, folks.
That's a great deal.
Check it out.
Everybody knows draft is just a good deal. Now this game started off pretty slow. We had David go into an Insolent Neonate. Paul following that up with a tapped, I believe, Blood Crypt. And then
That is a Blood Crypt, yep.
David then choosing to sacrifice his Insolent Neonate to discard a Vengevine. So, that's pretty
Discard
ideal.
Vengevine seems good. Yeah, that's the other tough thing here, though, is if you're using that as your discard outlet to discard the Vengevine, you no longer have the Neonate to cast. And if you can't cast a Neonate, you could find yourself struggling to cast 2 creature spells in a turn. That's why I would have maybe preferred, I mean, it's tough to say, but, based on what's in David's hand, but I wonder if it was correct to hold on to the Neonate and discard the Vengevine with the Cathartic Reunion. But maybe he's got 2 creatures he can cast here. You never know. Put out some hollowed ones. It's just hollow one, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not a participle, so to speak.
I'm really curious if David does in fact have the Death Shadows in on this deck because he's playing the Street Race, so one would think, but he was not really fetching very aggressively.
He's got Death Shadow. I
so
saw
you do
him.
know for sure?
He's at least got 2. I saw 2. There might not actually be 4, but you never know.
Another interesting thing I'm seeing in David's hand, he has both a Teamer Battle Rage and a Become Immense, a little 1-2 punch.
Yeah, that's
from
a
back in the
combo.
day.
That's sort of like that's like Gore Clan Rampager plus Boros Charm. You ever seen that one?
I did that in Standard
Yeah.
quite a lot.
+4
Fabled
+4
Hero.
double strike. Yep, Fabled Hero. Oh baby.
I was the
You're playing the
champion.
Naya Heroic.
It was that was an awesome deck.
Yeah, I was actually playing Naya midrange back then before Theros came out. That was one of my favorite standard formats.
I fondly remember casting Fabled Hero, turn 4, they pass. Super nonchalantly, go attack, no blocks, double giant growth, you're dead.
Easy money.
Just stone
Easy
cold
money.
giant growth.
See, here's what I remember. I remember turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim, turn 2 Farseek, turn 3 Huntmaster of the Fells, turn 4 Thragtusk, turn 5 Restoration Angel, my Thragtusk. Those were the days.
Those were some days.
That's
I was
where,
not a part
that's
of
where
those
Swag
days,
Tusk
but-
was born.
Oh, we got the Death Shadow. He's a little 2-2.
It's a 2/2. Just a little Goblin Guide, no haste though.
Kind of unfortunate that it dies to Bolt, but however, he is getting all these Vengevine triggers. So we'll see what Paul does here. I see him fetching in response to this trigger. I wasn't entirely sure what the card on top was, but I saw it was a new rare thanks to that little sliver.
Easy money.
Was a Soulfire, I'm being told.
Soulfire is a hell of a card.
So he's fetch Shocking here, which is not super ideal in the face of all this damage, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. And looks like he's going to be casting something. A lightning bolt.
That's pretty good.
Lightning bolt to one Vengevine. Fatal push.
Has he ever rolled with a fetch?
Yep,
Yeah.
he did. Yep,
Okay.
He did have
yeah. Easy money.
So ends up being a pretty decent exchange. Kind of unfortunate that those guys can come back. Hopefully he doesn't have the 2 creatures to be able to do so, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, Fatal Push against the Vengevine is not great.
But it's not the worst.
I mean, yeah, it's. I wonder if you're better off just pushing the Death Shadow there.
I think you might want to bolt it, honestly, because that thing has the potential just to get so far out of hand.
That's what I'm saying. Why not? The Vengevine always dies to bolt,
right?
Whereas the Death Shadow does not.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about pushing the Vengevine.
So yep. So he does actually end up having a push for the.
All the removal spells for Paul here.
He doesn't care.
That's what the deck is. You play a bunch of removal. You
And
control
then you do
the early
this.
game, and then then you drop the dragons, and you
Hope that's
say
good
get.
enough,
Yep, easy money.
And he's got more dragons in hand. Definitely at least a Storm Breath, maybe more. All these promos of all these weird cards I've never really seen
What's
before.
happening? Oh, yeah, promo
Storm
Thunderbreak looks sweet.
He has 2 Storm Breaths and a Thundermaw all in his hand, so he's dragon heavy right now.
That's a lot.
Unfortunately, none of them are castable, which is kind of funny.
So I drew up a list of Mardu dragons myself, and I was actually playing only 7 dragons, I think.
A bold attack here.
But I was playing one. I think it's called Sarkin's Tempest or something. It's like a 3-mana instant speed red tutor that tutors for a dragon.
Ooh, is this game?
Uh-oh.
Let's see, 9 double strike.
Trample.
So currently it is a 9, 18, -4.
Well, wait a minute. Did he... does it matter, or did he hold priority? Like, if you cast the... Is he gonna proc Ferocious? Did he sequence that correctly to proc Ferocious?
It only checks on resolution. So I think
is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I think if he was able to articulate this correctly,
then
it would work.
That's 18 damage.
But I believe that should kill him if he's at 13, because 18 -4.
Yeah, did they know it has
But I
trample?
assume he botched at some point, because otherwise I believe the game would be over unless if I'm totally math inept.
Did he not?
I guess he goes to 1? Why? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's 2 plus 6 is 8. It's only 16 damage. 2 plus 6.
Oh, I was thinking it was plus 7.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
There's the issue.
So 16 damage, swinging over the 4. Yeah, so we got Paul at 1 life. That makes sense to me.
And
oh, man. Whew.
Making him kill him. I
Legion
like it.
Loyalist. I don't know if Legion Loyalist is the right card for this deck. It's not where I want to be.
What do you think, Amory Fallen? Is Legion Loyalist the right card for this deck? Now that you're following.
Yeah, thanks so much for helping us out with that follow. Yeah, share your thoughts with us.
I didn't see any cards I felt like were really sideboard cards that game. That felt like basically a repeat of game 1, only the other person won. So I feel like at any point really, if Paul is able to drop a turn 2, rest in peace. That seems pretty strong against the deck. I feel like they're gonna have a lot of difficulty working through something like that.
Yeah, it seems okay.
It just really takes out a lot of the robust, in-your-face, like you're gonna die very quickly draws, which I think if Paul is able to make these games go late, he's got to be favored.
Rest in Peace seems good, given that we have Become Immense. I'm not super sold on the Become Immense in the deck anyway, but man, that's just how I feel about it.
Thank you, Baba Scoop, by the way. Just throw that in there.
Like, it's nice that you have discard synergies to fuel your
Garrett,
graveyard.
PPTQ 45.
Man, we're just killing it, man. People love us. They're just following all day. It's nice that you have discard synergy to fuel the Become Immense, but at the same time, you have graveyard synergy, and you're going to be causing yourself to delve away cards that are potentially crucial, like your Vengevines in a pinch. So I don't know. I think Become Immense is fine. But this deck also doesn't want too many spells. I mean, you want to have a critical mass of creatures so you can actually proc the Vengevines. Yeah,
I'm curious as to see his actual list, because maybe he might be a little light on creatures. I do like, however, in this specific matchup, Paul is typically going to be tapping out for these dragons, which is going to be a little bit scarier knowing there's a chance you just get +6/+6 trample and double striked. That makes... a lot has got to line up for that to happen, but it could happen. Shout out to SSJ2. I didn't read it all.
Couldn't read that. I actually can't read, so I didn't catch any of that.
And also, thank you to Daniel Strafford.
Stafford, just Stafford.
Just Stafford.
Yep. Sort of like Matt Stafford. You know Matt Stafford?
I don't.
The quarterback for the Detroit Lions, right?
Sports, are things that I enjoy.
I'm not a big football fan, but some of my old roommates are big football fans, and they taught me to like and appreciate Matt Stafford. Sort of inexplicably, but I sort of came to agree with them. I don't even know. I don't really follow the Lions, but he's a cool guy.
Yeah,
he's very funny on the field.
I found out I'm a fan of the NBA.
Oh yeah.
When very recently, when Kyrie Irving was traded from the Cavs, I was like, my team, my team. What's gonna happen? So I guess I'm semi-invested in the NBA, but that's really the only sports consuming I do, unless if you consider esports. And if of that, I only consume Magic, which I'm not even entirely certain is an esport.
I don't think Magic is an esport.
But Modo, I mean, that's online.
I'm not even sure you can call that an esport.
Looks like these guys are taking a look at their opener, and unless if David is cheating, it appears that he is mulliganing.
He's probably cheating. That's my guess. David's kind of like a cheater's name.
Oh, I see Paul over here playing with some young Peasy tokens in sleeves, which we definitely don't provide sleeved tokens. So I'm curious if he has young Pyros on the board. I believe I saw them.
Yeah, he does. He has. Okay, he's got two of them, right?
So I guess he brought them in too, which seems reasonable. It's a nice threat you can get down early. Plays pretty well with all of his burn spells.
Thank you, Modern Richard. As they say, Modern Dick.
Damn it! I wanted to make that joke.
Yeah, thanks for following.
By the way, guys, I don't know if you noticed, but look at this beautiful playmat we're looking at right now. Really,
the top
work
deck?
of art.
Well, you know what? I actually have a shirt in front of me with that very same logo on it.
And it's a pretty nice shirt.
Yeah, we've got Top Deck Productions shirts with this same logo on them. If people are interested in picking up a shirt, I think we'll be selling them to the public soon. We also have these nice Top Deck custom artwork. A local guy here did this Bolt the Bird artwork. It sort of looks like a bird, like a Tony Hawk's birdhouse. You know, if you know the skateboard brand, it's got that sort of feel to it. We're thinking about doing a whole line of them where we do. We got a Bolt the Bird shirt out. We're thinking of Push the Druid.
Shout out to Stoic MTG.
Strike the Snake.
Still
not
a big fan of Strike the Snake.
One that Mario and I talked about last week for Standard was Walk the Walk, where you walk the plank, a walking ballista. And maybe after this matchup we could have Foul Tongue the Legion Loyalist. I'm not tongue the Loyalist.
That's phrasing.
That seems like something dirty from a like a Revolutionary War romance novel.
Okay, so
Tongue the
looks
Loyalist.
like our questions here are going to be answered as our boy Paul here is going to have the turn 2 on the draw. Rest in peace. I'm pretty sure he has an untapped land. If he doesn't have an untapped land, that would be pretty funny.
So here's my feeling about the rest in peace here. If you spend your turn 2 fetch shocking to cast a rest in peace, what's the chance you just die to this Goblin Guide?
Yeah, I'm pretty... So the Goblin Guide revealed a path to exile, which Paul determined was more important than a random draw. I don't think I'm a big fan of that, considering he only has 2 lands in hand, unless if he has more, but I'm pretty sure he only has 2.
So plays out the Soulfire.
And then he still plays out the Soulfire.
Yeah,
so
I like this.
I don't think I value the path high enough over a potential land drop, because you have a lot of 4 and 5 drops in your deck. But maybe it's good enough against the Vengevines and all that.
My feeling on this matchup from the get-go, when I saw the rest in peace in Paul's sideboard, was the deck is not graveyard focused enough to want the rest. I think Path if you didn't have Path, if for some reason you were just on Terminate, I would want the Rest in Peace. But when you have Path to be dealing with a Vengevine permanently, you can't expect your opponent's going to see that many Vengevines. He's not dredging. You know, he's not dredging. He has to draw these Vengevines with a little bit of looting with Cathartic and Faithless, but he's not dredging. He's not going to like put 3 Vengevines in his yard on turn 2. I think Path is just a tremendously more effective card in this matchup than Rest in Peace. You know, if you're worried about him Rest in Peacing, or if you're worried about a Become Immense, well, you know what answers Become Immense is Path. If you're worried about a Vengevine, you know what answers that card is Path. So I'm not super sold on the Rest in Peace coming in. I think it's gonna end up being a dead card. That's my.
I think it's gonna be very volatile. In some games, it's gonna be incredibly good and was the only way you possibly had a chance at winning. But most of the time, it's not gonna do, or not even most of the time. Some percentage of the time, it's not gonna do anything. So in this game, it's certainly not looking great. And Paul didn't even need the extra draw. Had that easy untapped duel sitting right on top, which. Not too mad about. Now he's got Crackling Doom online.
Yeah,
David knows
that's
that.
a big deal. He's probably gonna take his land trigger first as well.
Yep, presumably that seems like the correct play.
Seems like the play. So back to Rest in Peace here.
Right.
You know you're playing an aggressive deck that has all kinds of non-graveyard aggressive threats like Goblin Guide.
Yep.
The worst thing a mid-range deck can do against an aggressive deck, and it usually only happens in game 1. But the worst thing you can do is have literal dead cards in your hand. Because aggressive decks, you just need to put something in front of them. And this Rest in Peace is, I think, a literal dead card here. And the worst part is, it's a sideboard card. It's supposed to be helping you out. And it's just, you know, we'll see how, you know, you're right that in some, it's swingy. It's got a high floor, excuse me, a low floor and a high ceiling here.
Yep, correct.
But I just don't see the point of bringing it in. That's... when you have the Path.
Paul kind of time walks himself here. Does not end up casting any spells. Does not reveal another land. Didn't Crackling Doom there at any point.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you don't Crackling Doom there.
Especially, I mean, if his plan is just going to be to cast the Rest in Peace right now, I definitely think you're supposed to do that last turn.
If you just Crackling Doom, take out the guide, and then Rest in Peace, he's not going to have any vines. Right?
Now,
this is an inefficient use of your mana.
You're challenging me a lot on this Rest in Peace idea. And I'm not exactly sure where I fall, but I'm starting to see what you're talking about. Because this Rest in Peace looks pretty damn bad right now.
I think the card. I mean, I think the card is really good at some things, but it's one of the most overboarded cards in Modern.
I'm gonna say the most overboarded card
is Thoughtseize.
Not Thoughtseize, Surgical Extraction.
Oh yes, you're right. You're right.
But I can see Rest in Peace being a very close second.
Yeah, people do not know how to effectively play Surgical sometimes. It's
don't bring it in mid-range matchups.
Yeah, it is strict card disadvantage.
I'm saying this. I've played it even against like elves and stuff post sideboard, and I've actually lost games just due to the fact that I casted a Surgical Extraction for 2 life. Yeah, literally that was the only reason I lost the game.
The other day I was playing Naya mid range against like I think a black green player. I think it was John.
This hand right now.
Yeah. I was playing against this Jun player, and he terminates my Knight of the Reliquary, and then he Surgicals my Knight of the Reliquary.
Nice.
It's not like I didn't have any in hand. He had hand information. He knew I didn't have another one in hand. He literally just wasted a card out of his hand. He paid 2 life for it, probably unnecessarily, to make sure that I couldn't have any more Knights for the rest of the matchup, as if I was even going to draw one. Like, I don't know. It's just a...
It seems a bit loose.
It's pretty loose.
Now, where the game has progressed at this point, we got Paul stuck on 3 lands. He's got a Foul Tongue Invocation, which is about to gain him a lot of life, buy him a lot of time. He's got 3 5-drops and a 4-drop in his hand. So
he's got plenty of dragons to reveal. If only you could reveal multiple dragons and gain more life. that would be great for Paul right now. Really? Do you think it would be all that good to have 4 dragons in hand and gain a bunch of life?
I think it would have been too good in standard.
Yeah,
but
that's probably
Modern, true. It can probably handle that
power you gain 12 life when you have 4 5-drops in hand.
So now we got the Battle of the Ages, the Thunderbreak Regent against the 2 Legion Loyalists.
You know what this looks like? This looks like someone just cast a hunted Hellkite, or the card Hunted Dragon, and it put out two 2/2 white Vigilance Knights. Anybody? Is anyone following me here?
I'm definitely not. I'm not an EDH player.
There's-
That sounds like an EDH
There's
card.
a series of cards in the original Ravnica block that were designed by Richard Garfield. They all have hunted as a participle describing the creature. Hunted dragon, hunted phantasm, hunted troll. And these cards, they put out cards for your opponent. So this is hunted dragon. And that's how I feel right now. I feel like we've got this Thunderbreak Regent being hunted by these goblins. Interestingly, there's actually the hunted phantasm is actually a blue phantasm, 3 mana 4/6 unblockable, but it puts out I think 5 1/1 goblins for your opponent. These cards are interesting.
Yeah, these are pretty cool looking cards that I'm looking at.
I would go down the rabbit hole here and talk about a 5-color hunted deck I made with Rakdos Charm and Batwing Broom, but I will spare you all the.
I appreciate that.
Yep. Look at Hunted Phantasm here. Cards. 3 mana 4/6 unblockable. You don't see that
Those
every day.
are very interesting cards. I'm
They
surprised
are.
I've never heard of those at any point.
Yeah, they're and like I said, they're designed by Richard Garfield, and you can sort of tell. It's sort of got this quintessential Magic feel to them. They're well designed. They're interesting. They're fun to play with. Way to go, Richard Garfield. We salute you.
I'm proud of you. And this game has not really progressed in a very interesting fashion. We got Paul. He's sitting on 2 removal spells, being a Foul Tongue Invocation, as well as
This
a...
Death Shadow is just going to die, but I guess
Yeah,
he's casting it for Vengevine triggers, but there is no...
okay, well, he's at 7.
Oh, he's a 7. Okay, now it makes sense.
Ooh, gaining a bit of life. I'm a little surprised to see that one come in post-board. And I'm surprised to see a gain life card in a Death Shadow deck. Aside Collective Brutality. That seems... It's a bit of an interesting little thing, because...
just happened?
I believe we saw a Foul Tongue Invocation, or a Path to Exile, rather, targeting a Death Shadow, and in response he fed the clan.
To gain 10 life to make it go to Graveyard instead of Exile, but there's a Rest in Peace in play?
Well, he doesn't get the land, which, may matter. I don't know if he does.
Why would... Okay. Thank you.
I'm not going to question it.
Thank you, Sorry Tuff. Sorry Turf. Sorry Utf. Thank you for the follow. We appreciate your patronage.
So, looks like this game's going to be ending relatively soon. We're going to have a series of 3 Stormbreath Dragons coming in hot.
Yeah, no big deal.
Which I'm really looking forward to. This is something... And, he decides not to attack, which I
Stormbreath Armada.
Which I think choosing not to attack there is playing around a haste creature, which I think is a pretty reasonable play to
I
make.
think that's fine, I guess.
I mean, he's probably got this game locked up, so I think you just want to play not to lose at this point. Like,
I've definitely been there.
Yeah.
Playing against Burn.
Yeah, I think that I see that a lot of times where a person's at like 2 or 1, and they attack with all their creatures, even though it doesn't really increase their clock at all if they would have left one back, and they died at the haste creature. So,
or sometimes people they'll have when I'm playing against Burn and I'm clearly going to win the game because I'm at 8 life and I have a 4/4, a 4/4, and a 7/7 in play. You don't want to swing with the 7/7 if it's not going to change your clock because deflecting palm.
Right.
But sometimes people they don't respect it. You got to respect these red decks, man.
They'll get you.
They'll get you.
They'll get you, and they typically
you hate to see it, folks.
Yeah.
You hate to see it, folks. Okay, we're scooping it up here.
Looks like the Dragons were able to take it down. Had a nice little discourse on the merit of Rest in Peace in the matchup. I think the jury's still out on that one, but you are opening my eyes up a little bit. I gotta hand it to you. I was ready to be very indignant and really fight you to the death and not swallow my pride on that one, but you provided some.
Yeah, I mean, I think
fairly solid.
I think
rationale there.
I think it goes both ways. Like we said, low floor, high ceiling on that card in this match. Anyway, two neat decks we saw. Jund Vengevine, not sure necessarily about this build, but folks, watch out for Hollow One. It's a real card. It does real things. There's lots of ways to play it. I've seen green, black. Ooh. I've seen black, red. I've seen... Oh my God, noob! Hey, thanks so much for subscribing.
I believe you followed earlier, and
I appreciate that.
That's really
That's really nice of you. Yeah,
hit me up. We'll get coffee sometime.
Okay. Wow. You never asked me to go to coffee, Victor.
I have asked you so many times.
You've never even met this man or woman named Oh My God Noob One. That just seems a little forward, don't you think? I mean,
I'm trying to. Honestly, I'm just really thirsty, and I'm banking on it being a lady.
wow, that's
I think statistics are not in my favor on that one.
No, we have a high female viewership here at Top Deck Productions. Someone help me out here. Someone tell me I'm right. I really quick while we're wasting time between rounds here, I wanted to say kudos to Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast for over the past 5-10 years or so developing a really inclusive, conscious game. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed this, Victor?
They definitely take very deliberate efforts to not be pieces of shit, which is something
right. Which is not every game company can say that.
Yes, which is pretty nice.
They've got a well-rounded, diverse cast of protagonists, and the worlds are populated by diverse characters. I think they take great pains not to appropriate a lot of the cultures that they entertain with. Mm-hmm. They treat these things sensitively. They hire experts. Mario and I were talking about last week. They changed the name of Fat Packs to bundles. Yep. Just little things.
Shout out to Kaimo, by the way.
Kaimo, thank you.
Yeah, I definitely. While Wizards of the Coast has made some very questionable business decisions with concern to Magic,
I stand by them a lot, but there are some I agree. Yeah.
But there's definitely, it's hard not to respect their presence when it comes to social matters. They definitely take that very seriously.
Yeah,
did you know? I can respect.
So go back, go to the Return to Ravnica block. Did you know that basically every card in either Boros or Azorius, with the exception of Tajik, Blade of the Legion, is a woman?
I did not.
Yeah.
That was right around when I just started playing.
And they do it so tastefully that I didn't even notice I was playing Return to Ravnica Limited for a while, and I never noticed that. Oh my God, yeah, Boros Legion, or whatever that card is, Boros Legionnaire. That's a woman, and they they sort of just all are.
What if I told you? How dare you? How dare you assume their gender?
That's right. No, that's right. Did you see that thing they did recently? Not recently. It's been a couple of years now, but. What's the name of that card? Alessia, who smiles at death.
I know that card. I've seen that in Cube.
Yes,
I'm trying to think of what that card does.
So Alessia has an interesting backstory, but Alessia is in some sense of the word a non-gender binary individual.
Mm-hmm. Kind of similar to Ashiok.
Oh, is Ashiok? Yeah, I didn't think about that. Ashiok, I suppose, is sort of a
genderless being.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the proper nomenclature is on that one, but.
But yeah, anyway, folks, I didn't even know this about the card Alessia, who smiles at death, until I think I read one of those the lore excerpts on the website.
Yep.
And she has this story, and yeah, folks get online and read it. Tell me what you think. I thought it was cool though. So yeah, way to go, Wizards. Not on everything, but on some things they're doing a very good job. Very good job. Did you know that Serpapards, that new card, Prowling Serpapard from Mammoth?
Is that a mythological creature?
Yeah, that's a real mythological creature.
When I first saw that card, I was like,
man, why would they make a Serpapard? That seems dumb.
But then
I found out. I saw on Wikipedia. I read a very credible Wikipedia article. Like all of them.
Yeah, all of them, of course.
And it said, Serpapard is an ancient historical mythological depiction. So the more you know, the more you coals.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I think we're going to take a little break here. I have to urinate very badly, so I'm going to go take care of that in between rounds.
Yeah, I'm going to probably go use some store credit on cookies or something.
I'll probably also get a little snack. I'm a little hungry. I'm a hungry boy.
I'm a little parched too.
Some water would not hurt.
We got the big dirty Mike Farrell back here with us. By the way, he's looking at the camera.
Were you able to make a little resurgence after your heartbreaking defeat at the hands of Cincy stalwart Jason Morgan? He was able to
Kiki Cord. Who's playing Kiki Cord? And Mike played against Kiki Cord earlier, which I haven't seen that deck for a while, but it's a great deck. I don't like Jeff Hoogland, but I like Kiki Cord. So, I especially don't like Jeff Hoogland when he activates his Kiki on a legendary creature in a tournament setting, and nobody calls him on it. But that's, you know,
it's a bit shameful.
It's a little scummy.
Non-zero amount of scum, for
on
sure.
On a scale of 0 to Pond Scum, I would put Jeff Hoogland right about Pond Scum. So was it a Bring to Light Kiki deck? Or Kiki Cord? Okay. One thing I really like about Kiki Cord is the fact you get to Firelit Thicket. That card as an expedition looks dope. All right. Anyway, we gotta go.
Yeah,
we gotta go refresh. We'll be back soon. Let us know in chat if there's anything you want to see. We got a round or two left here, so we got some good decks. Two rounds left. We'll pick some good decks for you. Anyway, see you in a bit.
All right. See you guys. And girls.